The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Eye Test. I'm your host, John Kirkner, with Bobby Amendola and Paul Orlando. We are The Eye Test, brought to you by Belly Up Sports Media. Today, we got another episode of the Fantasy Awards. We're handing out awards for the players of Week 5, and we got a good show. We put up some polls up on our Instagram at The Eye Test Pod. You should go and follow us, because we are now doing weekly polls every night during the Monday Night Football games to see who you think should win the awards. So we got a lot of votes last night, and we're going to hand out some winners. You guys ready for this?
We're not in sync at all.
No, that's okay, because we're about to be in sync. Cue the newest or the best NSYNC song ever. Paul, I know you know it.
You are my fire. Wait, I think that's actually Backstreet Boys.
No,
Same
that
thing.
is Backstreet Boys. No, it's Bye 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 is the insane.
Oh, yes. Bye,
Wait,
bye.
who sings the one that's like, I want... No, that's one I was just singing.
Yeah, that's Backstreet Boys.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We should stick to Fantasy Boys.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Well, we do have one new award this week, but we got to start the first award out with the week winner. And this candidate featured in a film, I'm Always Effin' Open. And we did make this a PG title. That's not the real title of the movie. But yes, I'm Always Open, Jamar Chase.
Yeah, and that's not what he said at all, in case you were wondering. There was a different word in between always and open, but we won't say it because this is a family show on YouTube, of course. But Jamar Chase finally, in Week 5, his big breakout game, and boy, did he break out, starring in I'm Always Effin' Open, and boy, was he always effin' open. 19 targets, 15 receptions, nearly 200 yards, even added 3 touchdowns for you, and put up a cool 53 points. I know I've been saying this a lot, guys, but it seems like there's a 50-point player throwing up that amount of points every single week. And finally, we got the Jamar Chase performance we were all looking for, and honestly exceeded anyone's expectations at this point.
Yeah, we've been waiting for it. He was almost, Joe Burrow was making room for him at Bust Island. He was getting his chair open. He was about to say, hey, you can come sit with me. But Jamar Chase was like, no. So congratulations, nominee number 1. Let's head on over to nominee number 2, featured in You'll Never Get More Than This, DJ Moore.
That is some excellent foreshadowing from the producer in that title. Wow, it's like they knew that DJ Moore was going to star in this role. But yes, Bob just talked about 50 burgers being thrown up in the air, and DJ Moore threw one up for us on Thursday night. If you were playing against him and you were just looking at your scores and you see that you're already down 51 points to DJ Moore, it was probably not looking good for you. If you played DJ Moore in your fantasy week and you still won, we would love to get a DM of that matchup. So please feel free to shoot us a DM on Instagram with that. But yeah, DJ Moore went absolutely stupid. And it's crazy because it wasn't like a 15, 16, 18 target game like Jamar Chase. DJ Moore only saw 10 targets. But the thing is, he caught all 8 of them for 230 yards and 3 touchdowns. He had almost 30 yards per catch. That is just absolutely insane. DJ Moore had an absolutely electric week. And after he just got done torching the Broncos defense, he came into Washington, which is definitely a better defense, but still, I don't know. But still, 10 targets, 8 catches, 230 yards, 3 touchdowns. I do not expect DJ Moore to continue this run of 25-plus point weeks, especially his schedule's actually kind of easy. Minnesota, Raiders, Chargers. But enjoy the 50 burger while it was here. DJ Moore, if you had him in your wide receiver 2 or flex, he certainly won you your week, hopefully.
Yeah, I did see one tweet this morning where he said, I had DJ Moore in 3 leagues. And then it was like, enter. I went 0-3 this week.
And actually, one of those that happened in our Dynasty League, my matchup this week, I went up against DJ Moore, and I thought I was cooked on Thursday. I was like, it's over. And it didn't happen. So there was one circumstance where sometimes 50-point performances don't actually automatically get you wins.
All right. Well, I've got the results here, guys, and it was quite a landslide. 74% going to one guy, 26 going to the other.
Wow, pretty lopsided.
Our week 5 winner, ladies and gentlemen, Jamar Chase. Come on down. Collect your
Hey.
award. I think we all knew that one was coming. Congratulations to Jamar Chase.
Yeah,
And for
DJ's
DJ
more
Moore,
little indie film did really well at Sundance, but he didn't stand a chance at the under the big
Right.
lights.
One hit wonder for DJ Moore. Oh, that would have been a good nominee name. All right. Let's head on over to our next award here. We're doing the most improved. Nominee number 1, featured in Jamar is down there somewhere, Joe Burrow.
We put Joe Burrow in Bust Island last week. It was a hotly contested topic, but he ended up in Bust Island, and now he had his best performance of the season in week 5, and Jamar was certainly down there somewhere this week. All 3 of Joe Burrow's touchdown passes went to Jamar Chase. He added 317 yards, put up a little over 25 fantasy points. So this is what you wanted for Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow was being drafted as a top 5 quarterback, and this is what you were pretty much expecting. Unfortunately, his breakout performance happened in week 5. Let's see if he could build on it, get his way out of Bust Island potentially, and maybe earn himself some more awards. But we'll see. And unfortunately, he still sits as the QB 26 after week 5, which is not what you want. But for this week, Joe Burrow is a nominee.
Yep, nominee, and I've heard from the press that he is gunning for that week winner award. Maybe he'll be there for week 6, and we will see. But first, let's have nominee number 2 come on down for the most improved award, featured in Don't Get Used to This, Dallas Goedert.
Yeah, Dallas Goedert stars in Do Not Get Used to This because, quite frankly, I think this is a one-hit wonder. I think this is just a film that caught the eye of a certain niche audience and is just going crazy. Dallas Goedert did have a great game, though. 9 targets, 8 catches, 117 yards, and a touchdown. That was good for over 27 points, which is weird because that threw him into the tight end 1 conversation. He's now the tight end 8 on the year because of one game. That is crazy. So if you drafted Dallas Goedert thinking he was going to be part of a 3-headed monster in Philadelphia with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and himself, don't get used to this because he has yet to break 10 points up until this week, and he finally did it in good fashion. But Dallas Goedert, I do not foresee this happening in the long term. I think A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith are still going to eat those targets. But for this week, it certainly did you some wonderful things. So Dallas Goedert, congratulations on your 15 minutes of fame. You can now return to mediocrity next week.
It was a short film, wasn't it?
Totally.
Yeah,
Short
it was
film.
one of those weird Sundance, things that people like.
Yeah, I mean, if one thing's for sure, it's not going to be a Dallas Goedert game next week. It'll certainly be probably Devontae Smith because he didn't get peppered. It was mainly just A.J. Brown and Dallas Goedert. Actually, the whole house that I was at watching that Eagles game, I don't know if you saw the beginning, but we were all like, Dallas Goedert anytime touchdown. And then like the first pass was that to Dallas Goedert, and the second, third, fourth, and then just touchdown. We're like, that was easy. I thought I was going to sweat that out the whole game. So congratulations to Dallas Goedert and Joe Burrow. And we do have the winners here. And it was a closer than the first one, guys.
Really?
58% said one nominee, 42% said the other.
Wow.
And boy, is it a good week for the Cincinnati Bengals because Joe Burrow wins most improved.
I thought it would be much more of a landslide than that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a chance that a lot of our followers are Eagles fans. So that could have played something into that.
You can't deny the breakout of Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase this week. You just can't.
because when a tight end pops for like 20 points, it's like, okay, that's not, but like everyone's been waiting for Joe Burrow to improve. So
Yeah.
I can certainly see it.
Hopefully your team's not 0-5 or 0-4.
Yeah, right.
Because you're pretty much torched at that point.
All right. Well, now we're going to announce the biggest surprise winner here. And number one starred in a crazy film. I mean, he started he started in the film You Paid Him How Much? And that's Zach Moss, because he found out some crazy information on Sunday.
And this certainly is a crazy film. It's one of the biggest dramas of the year in NFL land. And Zach Moss just happened to be a beneficiary of this. He was the lead role in You Paid Him How Much? And he's looking at that Jonathan Taylor contract saying, why'd you pay him that much when I'm putting up 34 points in week 5, the week that Jonathan Taylor comes back? I mean, 23 attempts for 165 yards, 7 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns. This is not the Zach Moss that we saw in Buffalo. I don't know if it's the Colts offense or he's just rejuvenated after leaving Buffalo, because Buffalo seems to mistreat their running backs for some reason. But Zach Moss is looking like the guy that maybe you should have paid the Jonathan Taylor money. Of course, I'm not being serious, but
he thinks that.
He thinks that because he's like, I'm the one putting up all these fantasy points, and Jonathan Taylor's not.
Yeah, I believe he also co-starred in Hold My Beer, because he saw, I believe he was a co-star in that film. Paul, can you recollect? Is that true?
I think.
Yeah, because he saw Jonathan. This is such a stretch. He saw Jonathan Taylor get paid, and he's like, "Oh, okay, hold my beer," and then just goes
now
off
I
for
want to get
34
paid.
fantasy points. Right. Well, anything else, Bob, on Zach Moss?
No. I mean, I wouldn't. Eventually, Jonathan Taylor is going to take over the lead role. So another title for this critically acclaimed movie could be Enjoy It While It Lasts, because it's not going to be lasting for too much longer.
Yeah. That's good. All right. Well, this guy also has never been nominated for anything. And he features in a film, I Need a New Quarterback. And that's George Pickens, everybody. Come on down, George Pickens.
Come on down.
Yeah, so George Pickens finds himself the star of a film that we can probably put a bunch of receivers in this starring role here. But George Pickens is it this week, and it's I Need a New Quarterback. And we've always kind of said it here. George Pickens does pass the eye test. He is an absolute unit. I will never get tired of watching his practice clips of him just like jumping over a guy, grabbing it one-handed, and then like spiking the ball in his face while he's on the ground. And that's like his teammate. I just think that's the coolest thing in the entire planet. But George Pickens, he did cook my Baltimore Ravens, as sad as it to say. He did put up over 30 points, 10 targets, 6 catches, 130 yards, and a lone score in the fourth that would lead to the game-winning touchdown for Pittsburgh. And my God, what would we do if the Pittsburgh Steelers had an actual capable quarterback under center? Kenny Pickett is very tough to watch. He's is a little boy out there, and luckily George Pickens was there to pick up the slack for him. But George Pickens is wildly inconsistent. He put 8 points up, 26 points, 11 points, 5 points, and then 30 points. So it's sort of you never know what you're going to get with him. But for this week, it was enough to land him as a nominee for biggest surprise in his film. Dear God, please send me a new quarterback.
Paul, real quick, what was up with I guess it was the Steelers offensive coordinator that was like super angry about the play call that they made. It was like, what, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1? Did you see that?
Yeah, so the rumor has it, and nothing is like set in stone. Obviously, this is what I heard on the radio, but rumor has it that Kenny Pickett got the offensive play call, and he said, absolutely not, we're not running that. And then Pickett called his own play.
That's a good sign for Kenny Pickett growing into like an alpha quarterback.
It is, but at the same time, when you are struggling and the offensive coordinator is your boss who truly determines whether or not you start the next week or not.
Yeah.
If you ignore play calls, and even if you succeed, you're just kind of, poking the bear there. But yeah, I mean, the fact that it worked, I give Kenny Pickett credit. And that offensive coordinator in Pittsburgh is horrible. He's
He's
absolutely
so bad.
horrible.
Dude, everyone was so happy upstairs in the booth, and he was just like, Ugh.
Horrible.
He's like, "Yep, my job's probably gone."
I don't know. Tomlin's pretty loyal to him from the stuff that I've heard. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Who is it again? Matt Canada or whatever?
Matt Canada,
Yeah.
All right. Well, we have some results in, and it is a landslide.
Oh,
We've got 72% of our voters voting for the biggest surprise of week 5. Zach Moss. No one expected that coming. Who would have thought? George Pickens, I get it. George Pickens, you could see a blow-up game real quick. But Zach Moss, especially after that Jonathan Taylor contract, I don't think people saw it coming.
The committee's really going with the nominees that I've been covering today. It's crazy.
But I mean, like, are we really truly surprised about Zach Moss? I mean, Jonathan Taylor hasn't played football nor practiced in like over 290 days. What did we think, that he was just going to come out and all of a sudden get 25 touches and lead this Colts backfield?
No,
with
I
a
don't
new,
think
with a
so.
new
I think it
coach,
was
a
more
new
so, like,
coordinator, and a new quarterback.
I think it was more so just Zach Moss scoring 34 points.
Yeah, like Zach Moss was
Pickens didn't get like 12 receptions, right?
Pickens got 6 catches on 10 targets, so it's not like it was crazy, but
Yeah.
Moss has been putting up like decent numbers all year besides week 4.
the thing is with Zach Moss is that when he was in Buffalo, he was garbage. And granted, he was never given probably a role like this, but he had some chances. Like he had in 2020, he had over 100 rushing attempts, and he almost had 100 rushing attempts in the last 2 seasons, but never even sniffed like RB4 territory. His highest finish before this season was RB45. So he was garbage, like in Buffalo. Again, maybe it was just a thing with Buffalo and them not knowing how to utilize their running backs properly, but doesn't seem like this isn't your dad's Zach Moss.
Oh, you used that twice now, and I like it.
Well, did I?
Yeah, you used it last week.
Oh, well, it's a good saying. It's a good saying.
It's a great saying, dude. Don't even get me started on not your father's root beer. It's so good, dude. All right, what if I just okay. Let's we got 2 more awards. This one, Mr. Consistency, is our new award for week 5. And nominee number 1 starred in a film, The CEO's Eldest Son. And that's Stephon Diggs.
Yes, it is. It is certainly Stephon Diggs. And Stephon Diggs is, as this award says, Mr. Consistency. He is the wide receiver 2 after week 5. But as this movie title says, the CEO's eldest son, you always know when the CEO's eldest son walks in that he's entitled, he thinks he deserves everything, and he's just a little bit spoiled. He sometimes performs really well, or typically performs really well because he learned from the CEO himself, but that entitlement just sometimes has little blow-ups. And Stephon Diggs, the Bills did not come out really well in the first half, and he was not performing well at the half at all. And you saw there was a clip of him getting angry on the sideline, not to anyone in particular, but just getting angry in typical Stephon Diggs fashion. But they righted the ship in the second half. Stephon Diggs ended up finishing with 24 fantasy points, 8 receptions, 121 yards, and a touchdown. And that was coming off a 37-point performance in week 4. And he's just, as the title says, Mr. Consistency, but just comes with a little bit of attitude with him.
Yes, it does. Yeah, and let's not forget, Stephon Diggs was drafted as like the 4th or 5th or 6th wide receiver in that first round.
Yeah.
And a lot of 8th, 9th, 10th draft spots are pretty happy right now taking Stephon Diggs. So Stephon Diggs trying to win Mr. Consistency. Can he do it? Or will it be nominee number 2 starring in A Room Full of Idiots, Adam Thielen?
Yeah, Adam Thielen takes over the role of grumpy old grandpa here at 33 years old. A Room Full of Idiots. And we pretty much found inspiration for this award because Adam Thielen's sitting there. It's like, it's crazy what I can do when I'm the best player on the team. And that's not saying much for the Carolina Panthers and their wide receiver room or really their offense in general. But Thielen, you got to give it to him. Since week 2, he hasn't put up less than 15 points, and he did almost touch 30 this week with 29.7. The dude is getting at least 8 targets a game with 13 and 14 targets sprinkled in there as well. He's scoring touchdowns. He's scored in 3 of the 5 games this year. I mean, Thielen is being everything you could hope for and more, especially from someone who you probably could have gotten off of the waiver wire. He currently sits as the wide receiver 10. Now, will this continue? I would make a case to say yes, as long as the Panthers do not bring in a solid wide receiver 1. And as long as he is the only shop in town, Adam Thielen's going to be open, and they're going to force targets his way. So, Adam Thielen, congratulations on your nominee for being the best player on a horrible team.
Yeah. I do remember a couple off-season episodes when we were ranking wide receivers, and we did have some love to show Adam Thielen's way. So in a way, we called this. You're welcome. But then I also remember I quickly fell off the Adam Thielen ship after I read a couple stats with wide receivers and their rookie quarterbacks. But that's the beauty of this industry, gentlemen. We can always be proven wrong. And everyone will remind you, too.
Yep. Keeps you on your toes.
All right. We have a close vote here, guys. Pretty much half and half. 55% one way, 45% the other.
Wow.
Adam Thielen falls short. And
Oh
Stephon
my God.
Stephon
Really?
Diggs takes the award. Yes. 55%.
What is
of
going on with
public
the committee today?
takes on Stephon Diggs. I think it's more so like
I think it's the household names. I think that's what it is.
It could be the fact that Stephon Diggs has been showing consistency for like 5 years now.
Yeah, or people just like putting I think people just like putting salt in my wound. They know the Orioles are down and they're about to lose again tonight, and people just think I don't deserve happiness, and I'm starting to believe that as well.
You do, Paul.
Thank
do,
you.
Paul.
It doesn't feel that way.
Happy.
Paul, you know what could bring you some happiness, bud?
What?
Sending someone to the doghouse.
To the doghouse.
Yes, that's right. We're at the time of the episode where we hand out 1 free ticket to the doghouse. And we did put this up on our Instagram story on Instagram, obviously, at the Eye Test Pod. And I open-ended question. Who deserves 1 free pass to the doghouse? And the majority of voters said this one guy, a quarterback that featured in a film, a $40 million mistake. And that is Dak Prescott. But more so like, boo.
Boo. Tomato comes across.
Yes, that's right. Dak Prescott has not scored 20 points yet. And it's not like that was expected from the jump. He was probably drafted somewhere in the 7th or 8th round, probably as like the quarterback 8, 9, 10 range, kind of like before Kirk Cousins, after Trevor Lawrence type of deal. So you're expecting to get like 14 points, which he's done 3 times. But the games that he's bad, he's really bad. And one of those games was against the Giants where he scored 6 points. Week 5, I mean, hey, if you started Dak Prescott, you probably knew it was going to be trouble going up against that Niners defense, scoring 7 points, completed 14 passes for 153 yards, and topped it off with 3 interceptions.
Ooh,
that's right. He's at 4 interceptions already through 5 games, on pace to break his record from last year, which was 15 interceptions in 12 games. So he's on pace to throw, I guess he's on pace to throw like 13. So it's pretty close. But I'm sure he will break that record. He's doing absolutely nothing. He threw 1 touchdown. He hasn't eclipsed more than 2 yet this year. Dak Prescott deserves a free pass to the doghouse. So congratulations, I guess, Dak. The $40 million mistake. And that is That's a tragedy film, I
Hey,
believe.
maybe you'll be joined there by some of your teammates.
Yeah. Oh,
Just
yes.
maybe.
And you will find that out tomorrow, guys. For all of you viewing on YouTube, listening on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, you can tune in to tomorrow's episode where we do another week of the Doghouse, another week of putting players on the stand. Who are we going to debate? And then, of course, who are the other 3, 4, 5 players joining the Doghouse? All that and much, much more on the eye test tomorrow at 3 p.m. We will see you then. Peace.
Peace.
See ya.